going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review. This is going to be a review for WWE Raw for 5/27/19. And this is the first Raw after AEW, and of course everybody's question initially is, how are WWE going to answer the AEW challenge? And in reality, they didn't. There was one mention of AEW, and it was very direct, kind of showed that they didn't care, they weren't concerned. But other than that, this was your typical Raw. It was not very good. I would have thought that they would have really wanted to push the envelope, but they didn't. It was the same old shit. And it was the same old tired shit. So I will say that they started out with a very good Memorial Day tribute, and they had actual soldiers talking about actual experiences, and I do appreciate that, because I don't necessarily always respect the politicians or the agendas behind it, but I do respect the soldiers who have to fight and sometimes die or lose more than, you know, any of us in defense of our freedoms, for me to sit here and talk to you guys on YouTube. So I did like the promo package, and one thing I've always said about WWE is they are very good with their promo packages. So backstage you get a shot of Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, you know they're there. Says they're going to talk about who Brock Lesnar is going to cash in on, or at least what his plans are. Kofi Kingston comes to the ring, followed by Seth Rollins. They're both doing a promo basically saying the same thing. They're ready for Brock Lesnar. They don't want to wait. They want him now. Brock Lesnar comes out. He does his boombox bit. Initially his song is on, and then some like upbeat tempo dance song is on, and he's playing like he's dancing to the boombox, and he really does go all in with it. Like Brock Lesnar, he goes out there and he has some fun with it. So that was cool. It was nice to see a different side of Brock Lesnar. You don't really get that a lot from him. You know, typically he's the beast and that's all he is. So it's kind of fun because he's throwing it in both Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston's face. The bit overall, it was all right. I like seeing this side of Brock Lesnar. I think it was kind of entertaining, honestly. I mean, I'm not the biggest on it. I don't think it was amazing, for sure. But it was fine. Seth Rollins, he gets pissed off because he feels like Brock Lesnar is making everything a joke. Seth Rollins wants a fight, so he just goes to the back. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman said, well, if Seth Rollins is leaving, we're going to leave too. That leaves Kofi Kingston in the ring alone to get a massive beatdown from Dolph Ziggler. So Dolph Ziggler, he starts beating down Kofi Kingston. That carries on through a commercial break. They come back. They're still going at it. And Xavier Woods comes out to help out Dolph Ziggler. They get in a really big scuffle. Kofi Kingston returns when Xavier Woods is just getting beat down by a chair. And Dolph wraps the chair around Xavier Woods' neck. That's when Kofi comes limping back with his own chair. And so he leaves the ring. Cut to commercial, come back. You're still in the same segment. Dolph Ziggler cutting a promo, which honestly I do think Dolph Ziggler's pretty good at promo. And it is what it is. I think that a lot of people made mention of how there was a long time in this particular Raw where you didn't get enough action. You didn't get enough wrestling. But I kind of have to disagree, because you had the big fight between Kofi, Dolph, Xavier, and Dolph, and it did span a while. It definitely took up some time. But it's not like you didn't have any action in that first hour. The whole Dolph Ziggler, Kofi, Xavier thing, I thought it was decent. Then you start one of many segments where the Usos are hosting this Memorial Day block party. You got a bunch of stars there, and not really much of anything, honestly. Like, it really goes nowhere the whole time. And we'll get back to that. So backstage, you see Shane O'Mac. He's in an interview. He's got Drew McIntyre with him. He says he's got an opponent that he's going to fight later. Okay. Then you get this promo package for Randy Orton and Triple H at the Super Showdown. Didn't care about that. Honestly, done to death. They're throwing a lot of big names in the Super Showdown. I get it. It was a pretty long promo package, though, and it's a promo package that could have been much, much shorter and giving somebody else some time to do something. That being said, you come back, you got Shane McMahon, he's back with Drew McIntyre, he's cutting a promo, and so the guy he's facing, I've never seen before, is supposed to be Roman Reigns' cousin, Lance Anoa'i. And right before the match begins, Drew McIntyre just all-out assaults him, throws him back in the ring, feeds him to Shane McMahon. There is actually a couple of back and forth parts of the match, but not for very long. I'll be interested to see what this guy has, though. He didn't look bad in the ring. And then they were going to continue a beatdown after the match. Shane O'Mac gets the win. They continue the beatdown after the match. Roman Reigns comes out, takes care of Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. So there you go. You get a Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins promo bit in the ring. It was decent. It was Seth Rollins basically saying that Brock Lesnar's a joke now. Brock Lesnar not really being affected by it. Paul Heyman's reading the contract saying that Brock Lesnar has a full year. Brock Lesnar says, well, if I have a full year, what am I doing worrying about anything right now? And so he's like, I'm not going to worry about anything right now, and that's kind of where it is. Backstage, AJ Styles interview. Apparently he has a legitimate injury, not storyline. And he says that, he's not going to be able to fight, whatever. And then Baron Corbin comes up and hits him for the hit that AJ put on last week. I don't know. Baron Corbin does nothing for me as a performer. I don't mind the guy personally. He seems alright personally. As a performer, though, I got nothing. So, it is what it is. Then you get Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics. Everybody should know by now, I'm not a fan of the Iconics. They're not that great in the ring. They're terrible at promos. Thankfully, Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross win, and basically the scenario here is Nikki Cross fights 90% of the match. You finally get the hot tag at the end. Becky gets the win. Not interested. I'm sorry. Just not. Usos Revival at the Memorial Day block party. Naomi said she invited them to Revival because she wants everybody to get along. So everybody agrees to it at first. And that's not going to last. Ricochet and Cesaro is next. Possibly the highlight of the night. Very good match. Very, very good match. At the end, Ricochet wins, so they're just doing a back and forth with Ricochet and Cesaro. Somebody made mention of, are they going to have a best of 7 series and then become a tag team? Because that's kind of what it feels like. And then you get a Rey Mysterio announcement. Apparently he had an injury on the Samoa Joe beatdown from last week, like a legitimate injury. And he's going to have to cough up the United States Championship. Samoa Joe cuts a quick promo where he comes out to the commentator table and says, I'll be there next week for him to do the right thing and give me back the belt. Then you get The Miz versus Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley versus Baron Corbin in a dumb fucking finish of a match. Did not like it. Not just for the reason that Baron Corbin won the match and is now going to face the world champion at Super Showdown. Just terrible. But it's a fatal 4-way elimination match. So you pin, you get, submitted, whatever, count out, and you have to go back. So Miz, Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin. There comes a point where Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley just start kicking each other's ass all over the arena. They're going to the back. There was never a count out. There was never an announcement that they were left from the match. And not but a couple minutes after they're, kind of gone, you get Baron Corbin pins The Miz, and that's it. It was a dumb fucking finish. It was really stupid. So I didn't like that at all. Backstage, Brock and Paul, you just get a shot of them. He's still there. Backstage, you get the Usos Revival 2, where they're playing some game, like cornhole or something, and Usos are winning, and they toss a bag, which looks like it's going to make it. One of the Revival smacks it away, and of course, this starts a little friction between them. They start arguing, and then R-Truth shows up, and they do a 24/7 bit with everybody going after R-Truth's belt. Don't care. None of it has been good here. Firefly Funhouse bit is next, and it's funny because they started this, and I thought they were the cheesiest damn promos at first, when they just had like the little buzzard or whatever, and it's really grown into this very cool thing that they've been doing. And of course, you know, Bray Wyatt, he can really sell anything, and he's damn good at it. So I really liked it. I can't wait to see him actually come into the ring, and he's talking about his alter ego is called The Fiend, the one we saw from last week. And so he's kind of identifying this now. But yeah, it was a very good promo all the way around, I thought. Then you get this really weird bit that they call the electric chair with Corey Graves. Corey Graves puts a wrestler in the electric chair, and they answer questions from the fans. This has never worked out, not once. We all know the shit's scripted, and so nothing feels genuine about it. So Sami Zayn is in the electric chair, and he had a couple of good back and forths with some of these questions, but at the end of the day, none of it really worked. It was just not a good section. Seth Rollins comes down, picks up the electric chair, throws it out of the ring, and then there's a match between Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. It was a good match. I really liked it, but you know, I don't know if there was any stakes to it really. Seth Rollins wins at the end of the day, and that was the end of the show. That's where they closed it. So, I mean, I gotta say, man, this is WWE just not even caring. And it's been that way for a while, and we know. You get some things on Raw that are very good, that are very entertaining. You get some things on Raw that are cringeworthy and just absolutely horrible. And I gotta say, man, there was a pretty good mix of both on here. I really, really loved the Cesaro Ricochet match. They had some crazy moves, highly athletic, just so good. The Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins match was good. But there was a lot of stuff in here I could have done without. The beginning was alright. I didn't mind Brock Lesnar with Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston and the boombox bit. I didn't mind that. I thought it was entertaining. I didn't mind the Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods thing. I thought that sold fairly well. So they had some good stuff there. The Shane McMahon, Lance Anoa'i thing, could have scrapped that altogether. The Iconics match could have scrapped that altogether. The whole Fatal 4-Way, especially the winner, they could have scrapped that altogether. So, I mean, you're taking out half your show right there. Like, if there's a show, a 3-hour show, and you can scrap half your material, you fucked up. Especially after, you know, you've got your first legitimate competition in a long time that just killed it at Double or Nothing. And threw you under the bus while doing it. Yeah, to grade this, I'm not going to completely shit on it because, like I said, there were things that I did like about it, and I already mentioned that. But overall, they are really, really suffering right now. Their writing team sucks, and it's been that way for a while, and we all know it. But it's brutal. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, or share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.